You are listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark.
Hello, everyone. I am the Reverend Jennie Adams from Holy Nativity Church, Eastfield, Scarborough.
And I am the Reverend Mark Adams from Winnow Wellbeing Coaching and Reflective Pastoral Supervision.
Hello.
Hello.
Neither of us got a clergy collar on today.
No, I've only worn a clergy collar once in the last 3 months, and that's when I was preaching at Holy Nativity. So there you go.
Oh,
So dust, they'll be getting all dusty.
I did have mine
Wipe the
on.
dust off. Yeah, but that's because you're a proper vicar.
I am, but
Yeah.
not so proper that I wear it at home.
I'm just faffing about with coaching, which if anyone wants to know about, please get in touch. Oh, see you later.
Nice plug there.
Yeah,
Shameless.
shameless plug.
Okay.
Anyway, what were we talking about just now? I've got to talk less. Why have I got to talk less?
Because when we tried to do little TikTok shorts, we discovered that they were all of you talking, weren't they? All of you.
Yeah, for those
Didn't pick
listening
up
on the
on
audio
any of
version,
my very small bits of wisdom
I'm
at
just
all.
nodding silently. So
Let's
let's
read.
crack on. Parable of the sower tonight, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
explained.
And it explained. Maybe we'll discuss that. Maybe we
Okay.
won't because I've got to say less. So, do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it.
You
Let's read
crack
it.
on. Let's read it.
Okay. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. Such great crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there while the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, Listen, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell on the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they do not have much soil, and they sprang up quickly since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain. Some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Let anyone with ears listen. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in the heart. This is what was sown on the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet such a person has no root, but endures only for a while. And when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, that person immediately falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the lure of wealth choke the word, and it yields nothing. But as for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in another 30.
Hey.
Oh, there you go then.
Going to say it's nothing to say, is there? Jesus has given
No.
the interpretation. So, what have we got to talk about?
Well, job's
I
a
can
good
talk
one,
about
isn't
the childhood trauma that this promotes to me if you want.
it? Go on then.
So I won't bore everyone with this, but Crediton Parish Church Bible reading competition.
Yes.
Subject was the parable of the sower. That was the one we were supposed to read. And I lost out to the vicar's daughter. I think it was a fix, but there you go. Clearly I'm over it now.
What did you have to do?
Read the parable of the sower in front of the judges.
What, read it or memorize it?
Read it. Like it was a Bible, who could read it the best. So there you go. That's my
That's a
childhood
fix.
trauma, the parable of the sower.
That's a fix.
It is a
Who,
fix.
who
Absolutely.
were
It's
the
a fix.
judges?
I
Depends.
can't remember. It's a long time ago. It's got to be 50 years ago. It's a bit scary, isn't it? Half a century ago. I'm still bearing
And
the
yet you're
grudge.
still talking about
Still
it now.
bearing
It
the
is
grudge.
childhood
Yeah.
trauma.
But anyway, so yeah, obviously, apart from my childhood trauma, what have we got to add to what Jesus has already said, Jenny?
So it's quite comforting, I think. I think it takes the responsibility from us. Seems to be a theme of what I say, to be honest, but it does. I would say that our responsibility is to sow, and then it's Jesus's fault if nobody hears it.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about the responsibility to preach on it, really, because Jesus has already done it. But is that not what you meant?
Oh, right, okay. Sorry, what did you think of it?
I thought you meant like, well, Jesus has given the interpretation, so what else have we got to say? But there is obviously more that you've got to say.
Yeah, I think we've got, but there's always something, isn't there?
There's always something.
Well, there
I've
has
got
to be. We
I've
have
got
to
a
get up every Sunday and say something.
I've got a controversial take.
Oh no. Go on then.
Controversial take, which I read in a book, and saying I agree with it or don't agree with it, is that this is Matthew's interpretation of the parable, and that Jesus never gave it. Now Matthew thinks we need to stick a worked example in of a parable. It was something like that. It's a long time ago since I read the book.
Okay, and Jesus never explained it.
Now, Jesus never explained it because that's not what he did with parables. Although, admittedly, I suppose he does explain it to the disciples. But I wonder whether that opens up the possibility of other interpretations, of which I have an interesting one.
Go on then. How's that speaking less going for you?
It's not. So you carry on, and maybe we'll come back if we've got time at the end.
No, I'm
No,
desperate to
no,
hear
I
that.
want you
I'm
to
all
go with
ears.
yours. So
Those
no,
who've got ears will
yeah,
listen.
well, no, that's fine. I don't want to talk. So you doesn't take any responsibility. So you can just sow the word, and then that's it. Job done.
Yeah, I think in many ways, yes. Because I've looked through it. I've heard interpretations where it says to fertilize the soil, we should create good soil. Um, and I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't, but I don't think I take this that from this parable.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, it throws it on the ground, doesn't it? It's completely indiscriminate about where the seed is going.
I love it. I had, well, we had a children's storybook about God creating the earth that's got God dancing around and creating like stars and other bits. But I just feel that this is a similar kind of Jesus just dancing around, throwing the things. That's the sort of image
Seeds
we've
going
got, scattering the seed. And of course, it would have been hilarious. We've missed out on the joke here. You know,
up. What's the joke?
well, the joke to be so reckless with your seed is
Steady.
as a farmer, you would seed was expensive. You wouldn't be so reckless to sow it as to where it wouldn't grow. So that was humorous. It
Okay.
hasn't it hasn't
Don't feel
translated
it's
very well.
translated well. Unless like us, you watch Clarkson's Farm, in which case you know that they do have to be very careful with drilling, as they call it.
Ah,
Drill the seed,
yes.
don't they?
And
So
it is
yeah,
expensive.
it is
So you
expensive.
wouldn't just scatter it
No,
willy-nilly.
you wouldn't. You would not do that. But in story, yeah. So what is that? So how do you apply that then in Honey Nativity or wherever else you've been, or in as you get up?
Uh, my interpretation is that we shouldn't be driven by the people by thinking wonder start again. We shouldn't be driven by working out whether we think people will receive it. And I think sometimes in churches we are. We we try and focus, we try and strategize to the people that we think will hear the word, where actually just be indiscriminate because we don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
It's all and
Okay.
everyone.
Okay. Yeah. What about though I mean, what about if you? I'm going back to my traumatic childhood experience of reading this passage. I remember
Mhm.
thinking, but I really want to be the good soil. I mean, I don't know whether through my life I have been the good soil, but is there a sort of sense in which there's a responsibility in us to make sure that the cares of the world don't choke us? And, so okay, you put yourself in the place of the farmer
Okay.
and the seed, but you could also put yourself in the place of the soil. You could be the soil, can't you?
Well, I think you can, but I'm not sure that that's what the parable is about. I mean, it's like you can take lots of things away from it, can't you? So you can be the soil. I mean, but you can be the gardener, but we're not the gardener. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do these things.
Well, you can put yourself in the place. I mean, if you don't, if you just take the parable without necessarily getting into all the interpretation, although you can still do that, I suppose you can put yourself in the place of any of these things, can't you?
Okay. What about the birds?
Well, don't be the one who snatches the word away from other people.
Yeah, don't eat them all up. I mean, you could do it on
Yeah,
every part of
yeah.
that.
Don't be the one who. Well, obviously, in the interpretation that Jesus that is given by Matthew, it's given as Jesus saying that's the enemy coming and snap. But actually, you could say don't snatch the word away from other people who might need it. Is that right?
Yeah, we could do that on every single bit. I'm not sure if I'm very comfortable about that
What? Why not?
because I don't think that that's the parable.
Okay, so what would be an acceptable read of the parable for you? So you've obviously, oh, that's great. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying, okay, so you think that you can be the farmer sowing the seed.
I think we could, no, we can discuss it now, but I'm not sure that I'd preach it because I think that, well, I just don't think that's the parable. The problem is the parable is very obvious, and
Well,
therefore
partly
there's not
because
much to say about it.
we've been given the classic interpretation of the parable.
It's it's the interpretation.
Okay, well, I have got an alternative one if I'm allowed to express it.
Go for it.
So I have preached on this. My alternative explanation, I'm not taking anything away from the one that's given here. That's fine. I mean, that
Mm.
sounds really bad, doesn't it? But anyway, is
It's
that
fine. Okay,
it's
Matthew,
fine. It's
you're
fine. We'll
right.
allow it. Okay. I think there's an interesting question about what sort of soil is your church?
Yeah, you see, and I've heard that preached before, and I suppose it's fair. It comes around every 3 years, but I just don't think that that's what the parable
Well,
is
I
about.
made that one up myself, so I didn't hear it from anyone else. So I'm going to copyright it, although obviously you heard it pre somewhere else or whatever. But you're not
I've heard
impressed. You're
Keller
not
say
impressed
that.
with that. So I think it's got some legs, as it were, because you could say, what sort of church are you? The sort of church where people come and, bounce off the path because there's, you know, it's cold and
I think
or
that's
it could
grabbing
be.
responsibility, and that's not what the parable wants us to do. I think if I took anything from it, it would be to have courage. All the times when you feel that the word isn't heard or it's been failed, or the times when you've been disappointed because you think people are kind of grasping faith and then they've walked away. That's all normal. It's all to be expected. And to just keep on keeping on. It's not your worry. Just keep on sharing the good news that you've got. I think if we talk about being the good soil, suddenly it becomes our responsibility. And I just don't think that that is the message of this parable.
Okay, okay. But there are things you can
So I
do.
don't like your sermon.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm not preaching it, so anyway, it's not a problem. But there are, okay, I'm going to push it a little bit more. So there are still things we can do as churches. I want to make sure that we're welcoming, to make sure that people can put down roots, to make sure that, you know, that they're fed and watered in their faith. Are there not? Is that not possible? I'm not saying, I'm genuinely not saying, I'm saying it a bit pejorative earlier, but yeah, I mean, I think that is a good message. I think that is a really good message, what you're saying. I'm not saying that's a bad message. It's a good message. Is this not also something that you could take from a parable that you could also apply?
Very good of you. Jesus will be pleased to hear it. Um,
Well, to be fair, that's not what Jesus doesn't, that's your interpretation of what Jesus is saying. I think it's
I
a good interpretation, but it's not,
think, okay, I would argue that, well, only because you decided that whatever's in Matthew isn't the real
no, not
interpretation.
necessarily. I have an open mind about that. It's there, it's in the Bible. I'm happy to accept it as it's there,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying actually that what you said, it doesn't say that, does it? It doesn't say so keep going. That's your interpretation of it. I think
Okay,
it's a
yeah,
good
okay, that's my
interpretation.
interpretation. It doesn't say keep going, but that's what I would take from this kind of recklessness that is being portrayed. And that some of these things that have happened, in fact, most of these things that have happened, just happen. It's normal. This is what's going to be like. And I don't know that that's a bad message to take away
No,
from
I
it.
think
I
it is
don't
a
know
good
that I
message.
need to kind of go with the soil. I'm happy for you to do that.
Well, if anyone listens to this and wants to make a comment, we'd love to know what you think. We don't get many comments, so give us some comments on our
I
little.
get them face to face. They just don't comment on the thing.
Well, that's
Um,
true. I got a few face to face, which is great. It's like, yeah. So I
yeah.
know some people are listening and even listening to the end. So we'd love to know in the comments what your comments are. Do make them if you're watching on YouTube or I think whatever other format you might be watching on or listening on.
I mean, what can I say? I think being good soil is a good thing. I just don't know that I believe it's the message of this parable. So
Okay,
it's one of
that's
those,
fine. Yeah, yeah. I
and
think what I'm saying is,
I would might even if I was preaching kind of segue into that, but still say, you know, we're pushing the parable, but what do you think? I might do that,
yeah.
but I don't think I could kind of go in all integrity and say that that's what it's about.
Okay. I mean, I think I mean, we've skipped over the bit about why Jesus speaks in parables. I mean, that's the gap, which
Yeah.
we're not allowed to look at because the lecturer doesn't want us to look at that for some reason. So, but yeah, I mean, there's something about parables that you can play with them. Though it's legitimate to play with a parable, even this one where we'd be given an interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think you should push it too far.
Because,
Because you can pick and choose and make it fit your own agenda.
and you're not doing that.
But my agenda's better than your agenda.
Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. It's
And that's the thing. I'm
and
right and you're
But
wrong.
would you do that with other parables? But it's quite a unique parable, isn't it? Because it's one of the only ones. There are others. I think the wheat and the tares gets a commentary, doesn't it? But there aren't
Yeah, so
many that
I
don't.
think we might have that next week as well. So let's
Fantastic.
not.
We can rehash this argument then, whether you have to accept the interpretation that's given. But then, in one sense, I mean, it's fair to say you are making an interpretation, which is great. That's our job as preachers, isn't it? To draw out the points. Otherwise, as you say, you just read it and sit down again.
Yeah, and that is the problem, really, isn't it? It does sound pretty obvious, but you've got to find something to say about it. Um,
So,
am I
okay.
drawing out the interpretation? I suppose I am. I don't know that I am as much though. Okay, I I know that being reckless when planting a seed was supposed to be humorous. I've done the research. I know, yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually. I'm not sure that.
Okay. So you're very much, and I think it's a great message, right? I think it's a great
Hmm.
message. I'm not trying to. I'm
I suppose
genuinely
the
not trying.
keeping going thing wasn't there at all. It's just that like it's all
Yeah,
inclusive.
yeah.
Just
But actually, I think one of the playful things about this is you can play with these parables, and that's part of the joy of them, isn't it? And I think that's a great message to take from it.
yeah, I think, I think if you're going to do it, you need to pick out each bit, just do a line for each bit. Who's
What of
going to
each?
be the bird and eat and snatch the wing
Okay, so
away?
let's
Who's going to
finish
be
with
the
that then. So
thorn?
come on in. So what's
Hmm.
your? So this is the reckless sowing. Give us the line for the bird, the soil, the heart, the path. Sorry.
Sorry, the ones that stay on the path and the
Yeah,
birds came and ate them up.
yeah. So what's the line for that one?
So, so if you're a bird, what are you doing? Snatching the food
Yeah.
before it
Well, no,
grows.
I think you saying what's the line about that poem? In your reckless thing, I mean, I'm not trying to speak for you because I wouldn't agree with
What
you.
do you mean, what's the line?
Well, you said you can give a line for each thing, so I'm just wondering what the line
Oh
is.
no, I mean in a sermon. So like if I
Okay.
was just going to do a little spiel for each one, but then I'm sitting here going, well, what does it mean if you're a
But the
bird and
spiel for this is that some people, if I'm taking your model right, which is great, some people are just going to bounce off. They're not going to care. There are people in the world that are just not going to hear it. But it doesn't matter. Keep sowing. And then there's other people that are going to come to your church for a bit and they're going to be really enthusiastic and then they're not going to get it. So don't worry, keep going.
okay,
Is that
yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean? Is that the sort of thing you mean?
yeah,
What's
and
the
don't
next
worry
one?
about it.
There are thorns, there are things that take us away. People are going to do that. Doesn't matter, keep going because sometimes and eventually you're going to hit the pay dirt, as it were, of the
Pay dirt.
pay dirt.
I like that. If you're going to go for good soil, you need to call your church pay dirt.
That'd be a great name for a church, with a pay dirt church. And of course, the thing is that, as I also understand it from a little bit of research already, that this is a spectacular yield, isn't it?
Yes, I've heard
Hundredfold
that.
yield is a spectacular yield. Again, Clarkson's farm. When they get the thing at the end, and they what's the yield been? What's the yield?
Yeah, you haven't seen the whole series, have you?
I haven't seen the latest series, but I know that presumably that's what happens later on. But I've seen they talk about that on previous series, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's like just massive, isn't it? A
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And this
Yeah.
is a really good. So pay dirt is, sometimes you're gonna keep spreading it, and sometimes it's gonna work. But I think there's a nice thing in this as well. Actually, it's like, we can get, we can big ourselves up, can't we, when things go well? That, oh, we've done really well, or maybe you look at that other church and you think they're doing really well. No, you just keep going.
Yeah, and there's just faithfulness, really. Just
Yeah,
keep, yeah. And that's where I kind of my keep going thing comes from. Yes, it's not in there, but actually, and it look percentage wise, can't quite remember how many it is, but it's less than 25%, isn't it, that actually falls on good. So is that right?
yeah,
Hang on.
yeah. Well, okay.
Or is it 20%?
Well, I don't know how many different things are there.
That's what I don't
It's
know.
20, 25%, but
Fell
the
on the
yield
path,
is
fell on a rocky ground. Fell on the thorns.
there's
No, so
four
yeah,
types of.
only 25%. The
Okay,
yield
but
is,
the 25% hits the good soil, but the yield on that is 100 times, up to 100 times. So keep
hmm.
going. Yeah,
Whereas
okay.
next year
And
will
if
be
you want to pick up any other ideas, that's fine. Just do it. But we'll see. Jenny's right.
obviously I'm right.
Obviously, she's right. We'd love to know what you think. Leave us a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel or whatever other podcast platform you're listening to this on, and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to be back
You're
next
allowed to
week.
talk to us.
We're back
You're
next
allowed to
week.
tell us.
Yeah. If you
Hmm.
disagree, tell us. We're going to be back next week.
We will. Yeah,
We'll be back
absolutely.
next week. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Have a good
Take
one.
care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark. Please subscribe for more episodes on all the usual podcast platforms.